Good morning and welcome to another episode of Tea with Z. It's great to be with you all here again this morning. And like always, if you haven't got your drink or haven't got yourself comfy or your bowl of cereal or whatever you're doing at the moment, go and grab that now. So today we're going to be talking about resilience. We're seeing a lot of media reports coming out right now, with particularly in Southeast Queensland, where there's over 400 healthcare workers uh, in isolation or in quarantine due to being a close contact with somebody that has tested positive for COVID-19. And when we look at that, and I believe that each one of these 400 people are health entrepreneurs in their own right, are health entrepreneurs in their own right, because they are in the business of helping others live better, more healthier, more meaningful lives in whatever shape or form that they do that in. And to me, the profits from their work come through the rewards that of health, of happiness, of well-being that they deliver for their patients and their community. So what I really wanted to touch on today was, firstly, what is resilience? What is resilience? And so resilience is the process of adapting well in the face of adversity, trauma, or significant sources of stress. I'm going to say that definition again. Resilience is the process of adapting well in the face of adversity, trauma, or significant sources of stress. And I would have to say that pretty much this is the definition of the life that we are living right now, particularly if you are on the eastern seaboard or states of Australia at the moment, particularly in Southeast Queensland, New South Wales, and Victoria, but very much so in New South Wales. New South Wales are still seeing a lot of numbers in regards to the COVID-19 pandemic and the Delta strain. And what has really sort of captivated me is the level of resilience that the health entrepreneurs are showing, the level of resilience that they are demonstrating to not only deal with the challenges that they're facing right now, but to deal with the mindset and to ensure that they have the mindset geared for resilience. And the way in which they do that, and there's five sort of, broad holistic approaches. Firstly, it's starting off with a positive view of what can be achieved during these difficult times. Not looking at just the negatives, but looking at the opportunities that lie within all of the craziness that's happening at the moment. The opportunities to step up and deliver more meaningful work and more meaningful health outcomes to our communities and patients. And when we look at that, and when we look at that flip of the switch with that mindset from not just fixating on the negatives and the things that are going wrong, but rather than flipping that script and focusing on what is positive and possible and the opportunities that lie in that allows us to grow and to become more and more resilient, to not only survive through these challenges, but to thrive to it. And that sort of, comes to the next point, is that this is all in pursuit of a common goal, or a goal that is meaningful and is bigger than oneself. So if the goal right now within your own health entrepreneurial journey is just to stay safe and healthy, well, what are you doing to help support that? What are the characteristics and the traits and the mindset that you're adopting to support that? And whether or not it's just through the positive work, but is it through then the actions that you take? Are you doing things that actually are supporting you to achieve those goals? Whether or not it's at home workouts, it's journaling, it's even gratitude work. All of these things all add up. It's meditation. All of these things all add up to actually forming the mindset of resilience. So, working towards a common goal and knowing why you're doing that and constantly striving towards that goal definitely ensures that we can maintain a resilient mindset. Now, thirdly, it's about making connections. Making connections and staying in touch. Now, we're in an increasingly isolated world, but thanks to technology, we are still able to connect. And we touched on the power of communication earlier, the power of communication and what that truly holds. And at the core of communication is connection. And so, what connections are you making? How meaningful are those connections that you are making within this environment? And what are those connections doing to support your mindset for resilience? To support your mindsets for growth, for grit, to overcome these challenges. How are they holding you also to a standard? How are they holding you to a standard to ensure that you are not only holding and nurturing a positive view of the world that you live in and of yourself, but also for the goals that you were trying to achieve? Fourthly, we need to take action. We need to take action. We need to do something. At the end of the day, if we are just sitting in the situation that we're in, and coming back to the definition of resilience, if we are sitting in adversity, if we are sitting in trauma, if we are sitting in significant sources of stress and not taking decisive action to actually move forward and past that, then how can we change the outcome? How can we change the situation that we are in? And so, by taking decisive action and also action that allows you to adapt, to innovate, and that's the critical part, to innovate and to reflect on what you've been doing in the past and to make your future actions even more meaningful, all in pursuit of your goals, then those actions are going to be even more profound. And lastly, it's about accepting that there are factors of our life that, unfortunately are beyond our control. And when we look at that, when we look at what we can influence, what we can change, I chat to a lot of people at the moment, and they all have their opinions about, these lockdowns and what we should be doing and what the politicians should be saying, and the policies that they're putting in place and the restrictions that they're putting in place. And at the end of the day, when we look at our circles of influence, we don't have at the end of the day, those are beyond our circles of influence. Those are decisions that are made, whether or not we agree with them, those decisions are already made. So when we look at our circles of influence, what can we control? And by just focusing on what we can control and not the things that we cannot control, we can dedicate a lot more time, energy, and resource into ensuring that we're focusing on what actually matters, on what is actually important, so that we can do and enact everything else that we discussed about. Because if we are focusing so much on things that we can't control, how can we be taking decisive actions? How can we be dedicating resources for communication and meaningful connection? How can we be working to achieve our goals? And how can we be ensuring that we are holding a positive view of the world that we're living in and looking for the opportunities that lie within that? If we are so fixated on things that are beyond our control, we then do not save enough room to focus on these other four areas that we really need to. So my question for you today is your mindset geared for resilience? And how are you doing those 5 things? What are those 5 things? How are you nurturing a positive view for yourself and for the world in which we live in, and the opportunities, and recognizing those opportunities that lie within that? How are then we translating those opportunities into goals that we want to achieve, and then taking action and decisive action to achieve those goals through adaptation and innovation? And what are the networks around us that can support that? And how are we communicating with our team, with our community, with our family, with our friends, to hold us to a sense of accountability in order to achieve that? And are we just focusing on what we can influence and change? Or are we so fixated on things beyond that, outside our influence, our circle of influence? So that's my question for you today. Is your mindset geared for resilience? And what actions and what steps are you ensuring that it is, not only for today, but for tomorrow and for whatever future challenges lie ahead? Challenges or opportunities. That is your choice, and that all comes down to your mindset and whether or not you perceive the challenge just to be an opportunity in the future. So, shout out now to the Limitless Network once again. Looking forward to catching up exclusively in the Limitless Network each and every Friday morning with an exclusive episode of Tea with Z. And like I mentioned before, at the start of this, those 400 healthcare workers, in their own right, whatever way, shape, or form, are health entrepreneurs, because the profits of their work are the increased health and well-being of the patients that they serve, but also to themselves. Is that knowing that they are making meaningful difference in people's lives. And whether or not you or your friends, your family, your colleagues, or whoever value health, and this is a network designed for you to empower one another in a safe space, in a peer-supported space. And this group will is continuing to grow, which is awesome. And I encourage each and every one of you, if you value health, to jump on in it and to share that around. It's free to join, costs you nothing. And at the end of the day, if you are getting value out of what we are talking about each morning with Tea with Z, that's the group to jump on in. So that's it from me today. Have a fantastic day. Stay safe, stay well, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow on another episode of Tea with Z. And actually, just see Tash, there's a little message pop up here. So 100% about the circle of influence. Personally, I find myself forgetting this at times and getting caught up in trying to change things outside of this and getting frustrated with it. So that's what it's all about. At the end of the day, when you look at resilience and you look at your grit and determination, is what can you change, and focus on that. So that's it from me today. Thanks for joining us, and I really look forward to seeing you on another episode of Tea with Z tomorrow. Take care now. Bye.